Putin's India visit should be followed up by serious work on building peace. Russian president may be helpful in ensuring harmony among Asian nations. Author Dr. Arun Mitra. The visit of Russian President Vladimir Putin and the warm reception accorded to him once again underline that Jawaharlal Nehru's legacy of a trusted India-Russia friendship continues to endure. While today's Russian Federation is not the former Soviet Union, it is equally true that Russia was the most significant constituent of the USSR, and many elements of that legacy survive. As Ivan U. Klyszcz sees research fellow at the International Center for Defense and Security in Tallinn, noted in an article in the Times of India on 6 December 2025, the political and strategic legacies of the Soviet era continue to shape Kremlin thinking. From the bipolar order that emerged after the Second World War to the unipolar world of the 1990s, and now toward an increasingly multipolar environment, the international system has undergone dramatic shifts. Today, the world's three major power centers, China, Russia and the United States, possess strong economies, advanced militaries and global influence. India, with its large population and growing economy, remains a rising power but is still transitioning from the lower middle-income category. Although a major market, we still have a considerable distance to travel before we can decisively shape global geopolitics. As the founding voice of the non-aligned movement, NAM, the world expects India to continue championing nuclear disarmament, curbing the proliferation of small arms and promoting lasting peace, particularly in our own region. To fulfill this role, India must adopt a nuanced and skillful diplomatic approach. Encouragingly, the present Indian leadership has begun to recognize that geopolitical relationships are guided by mutual interests rather than ideological affinity. Russia proposed the Russia-India-China (RIC) strategic triangle in December 1998 through the then Prime Minister Yevgeny Primkov, envisioning it as a counterweight to US unipolar dominance. India showed limited enthusiasm at the time. However, changing geopolitical realities led to the emergence of BRICS. Coined in 2001 by a Goldman Sachs economist to represent the dynamic growth of Brazil, Russia, India and China, the BRICS grouping has evolved into a global political initiative aimed at democratizing and balancing the international order. Today, BRICS comprises 11 nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Indonesia and Iran. It has grown into a major political and diplomatic forum for the Global South, enabling cooperation across diverse sectors. As a liberal statesman, Jawaharlal Nehru refused to align with the military blocs of the Cold War era, the NATO or the Warsaw Pact. His objective was to unite newly independent developing nations, so they could pursue their own developmental strategies through partnership and mutual respect. Along with Marshal Tito, Gamal Abdel Nasser and Kwame Nkrumah, he laid the foundations of the non-aligned movement. NAM soon became a formidable grouping that included not only developing countries but also communist states like Cuba and Vietnam, and national liberation movements such as the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO. While Western powers were uncomfortable with NAM's anti-colonial and anti-imperialist orientation, the Soviet Union generally welcomed India's leadership in the movement. Historian Gopal Krishna Gandhi points out in an article in the Hindustan Times that following a letter from an eminent politician of the time C. Rajgopalachari dated 27 March 1958, the Soviet Union imposed a unilateral moratorium on nuclear testing within 5 days. It is noteworthy that during his visit to India, President Putin reiterated that Russia would refrain from conducting nuclear tests if the United States provided a reciprocal assurance, an announcement made on Indian soil. It is also relevant to point that the USSR had supported Rajiv Gandhi Action Plan for nuclear weapons abolition. Putin's visit should be followed by a concrete peace initiative. India, China and Russia can together play a significant role in promoting stability in Asia. Pakistan, despite having a democratically elected government, continues to function under a strong military shadow. Yet, it can and should be encouraged to join a constructive dialogue. India must not shy away from diplomatic engagement, and should demonstrate a willingness to revive SAARC. Only through dialogue can South Asia move toward lasting peace. Any Indian government, regardless of political orientation, must recognize that sustainable peace in the region requires a broad-minded and forward-looking approach. President Putin's close relations with China and his pragmatic, non-hostile engagement with Pakistan may help create opportunities for a more peaceful South Asian neighborhood.